The United States Supreme Court just upheld the lower court's decision enjoining the state of Florida from enforcing its new immigration law. Senate Bill 4C created Chapter 811 of the Florida statutes, which made it illegal to be in the state of Florida if you were not in the United States legally. What does this court ruling mean for Governor DeSantis' overarching strategy to assist President Trump in mass deportation? He just opened up Alligator Alcatraz, so it doesn't seem like it's upsetting him at all. This isn't political. It's a constitutional deep dive into the inner workings of the law. At the heart of this debate is preemption, which tells the states when they can and when they cannot regulate activity. Our Constitution is not a permission slip for the federal government to do whatever it wants. It's actually a document that limits the powers of the federal government. It's a document of negative rights. This means that the federal government can only take action when it's authorized by the Constitution. All other rights are reserved to the states or to the people under the 10th Amendment. So when Congress wants to regulate an industry or activity that's not specifically outlined in the founding documents, such as commercial trucking, or maybe commercial flights or flying in general in airports, Congress has to justify their authority to regulate the industry or activity selected. They usually do this using the Interstate Commerce Clause, which has been known to be abused by Congress over the past 20 or 30 years. But immigration is different. The Naturalization Clause of the United States Constitution has been interpreted by the courts and everyone really as giving Congress sole authority to handle immigration matters, citizenship matters, and naturalization matters. The state's legal position here is that because the state law mirrors the federal law and it's not in conflict, that it's A-OK. That logic fails. Take, for instance, the commercial trucking industry. The federal government has DOT requirements and DOT guidelines that the state government and regulators must comply with, but they can also impose their own limits and restrictions above and beyond that of DOT. The federal government allows the state government to regulate this trucking industry side by side with the federal government. But airports are different. State control of airports doesn't exist. The Federal Aviation Administration has absolute control over the airways. They don't allow the state to regulate anything. That's the same way with immigration. The state cannot make it illegal at the state level to be in the country illegally, because that would undermine Congress's ability to regulate naturalization and citizenship. If Congress wanted to change the rules today and say we're not prosecuting any of these people or deporting anyone, now you have Florida state law in conflict with the federal law. Arizona, back in 2012, tried to do something very similar, and the Supreme Court already shut this down. DeSantis knew that was the case, but hey, that's typical DeSantis for you. Remember earlier we talked about the federal government inviting the state government to participate in immigration matters? That's what 287G is all about. Under 287G, the federal government law enforcement officers and ICE can partner with and deputize local and state law enforcement officers to take action under the limited authority of the federal officer. In order to take action there, a federal government official has to be in the loop. If DeSantis' immigration law passes the constitutional muster, which I don't think it will, at that point in time, DeSantis would be able to contribute massively to the number of deportations taking place, because his officers would be able to make these illegal alien arrests without the authority of a federal officer. And then the person would be held in jail for 9 months, providing the federal government the sufficient amount of time to come to the jail and take the person for deportation. But did you know on July 1st, there was a whole bunch of new laws passed, one of which is a super speeder law, which gets people arrested for driving too fast. And the other one is a non-moving violation of having a license plate bracket on your car. That's now criminal. If you want to hear about that, watch this video up here. Hit hard.